A guten Erev Shabbos, a guten Erev Yom Tov. We have a little extra time this week to talk about the meaning of the holiday because this Shabbat, first day of the holiday of Sukkot, we are not taking the lulav and etrog, the four species. This is following the rabbinic instruction to hold off on that mitzvah until Sunday. This is the basic idea you recall from 2 weeks ago when we did not sound the shofar on the first day of Rosh Hashanah, but rather we waited until the second day. All this has to do with preserving the integrity of Shabbat, which holds importance even over these great mitzvahs that are such emblems of the holidays, shofar and lulav. At the conclusion of davening Shabbat morning, we will read one of the Hoshanas poems for the day, even though we will not march around the bima like we will on Sunday and the subsequent days of Chol HaMoed. If you want to see some picturesque shul happenings, come during those days for the parade around the bima with the lulav and esrog. We'll read a different Hoshana each day, recalling the singing that was done in the temple on those festive days. The Hoshana that we'll read on Shabbat is in your Siddur on page 736, 737. You can take a look if you have the Siddur handy and you would like. First of all, the poem rhymes nicely, like many of these do. It says, Om Netzura Kavavas, Banenes Badas Nefesh Meshivas, Gomeres Hilchos Shabbos, Dereshes Masas Shabbos, and so on. Each of these phrases is a little reminder, a little hint to a basic part of Shabbos that has either to do with when it occurs on Yom Tov or both. They're also this poem is also an alphabetical acrostic. This Hoshana is, which was a big help in the days before printed text. It goes Aleph, Beis, Gimel, Dalet. That arrangement helped you remember where you were in the davening and what comes next. There are a number of prayers in our Siddur that go like that. The first one, Om Netzura Kavavas, means protected like the pupil of the eye, which is sort of a Hebrew expression for what we say, the apple of your eye. That's Shakespeare's phrase from Midsummer Night's Dream, but he got it from Tanakh. In last week's Torah reading, we had Yitzrenhu ki Yishain Eino, protected like the pupil of the eye. In Psalms, Tehillim, Kapitel 17, it says, Shmoreni ki Ishain bas ayin, guard me like the apple of your eye. It means the most precious and central thing. It seems it's really referring to the reflection of yourself that you see in someone else's pupil when you look close, which is interesting. What's the most precious thing? The apple of our eye and God's? Obviously, Shabbat. Bonenes bedas menefesh meshivas. The next one says, let's translate that as seeking understanding of the law refreshes the soul. When anyone tells you that we believe in blind faith and you're not allowed to ask questions, just toss this one back right at them. Bonenes bedas benefesh meshivas. Seeking understanding of the law refreshes the soul. The more we learn, the happier we are. Gimel, the next one is Gomeres Hilchos Shabbos. Studying them, that's a good way to understand. And Daled, Doreshes Masas Shabbos, means explaining the idea of carrying a load or a burden on Shabbat. The idea of Shabbat is to rest. So refraining from engaging with the world around us and changing it, fixing it, painting it is what we do the other 6 days of the week, carrying things to and fro. So as not to carry, we are relieved even the burden of carrying a lulav or a shofar on Shabbat. Thanks, rabbis. They're always looking out for us. Don't worry, I'm not going to go through the whole alphabet, just a few more. Under the Zion one, it says, Zachor v'shamor mekayemes b'Shabbat. This touches on that quandary we have when we compare the 10 commandments as they're recorded in the book of Exodus and Parshas Yisro, and again in Deuteronomy in Parshas Vaschanu. One place it says, remember the Sabbath day, Zachor es Yom HaShabbos. The other place it says, Shamor es Yom HaShabbos, guard or keep the Sabbath day. So which one is it? What are we supposed to do? Obviously, both. In Lecha Dodi, Friday night, we sing Shamor v'Zachor b'dibur echad. God gave us the idea of remembering Shabbat and keeping Shabbat all in one shot. Zachor refers to the positive things, like resting and making kiddush, eating a nice meal, etc. And Shamor means refraining from things that don't have to do with Shabbat, like work, cell phones, working in your garden, cell phones, planting and harvesting, cell phones, things like that. Let's skip ahead to ayin. Al shtei kikaros botzaz b'Shabbos. Over 2 loaves you shall break bread on Shabbat. We're always particular to have 2 challahs to remind us of the double portion of manna we got on Friday, so we wouldn't have to go gather manna on Shabbat itself. And shin, shiva badas korin b'Shabbos. 7 portions of the Torah, the law, we read on Shabbat morning. By Sunday, you'll have seen almost all the different numbers of aliyos that we call up for Torah reading in order of ascending importance. 3 on a weekday, as we did on Thursday, 4 on Rosh Chodesh and Chol Hamoed, as we'll do on Monday, 5 on Yom Tif, Sunday, 6 on Yom Kippur, last Monday, and always 7 on Shabbat, even if it's Yom Tif or even Yom Kippur. Shabbat is the holiest, so 7 aliyos. The last line in the poem, Tanchilena Yom Shekulo Shabbat, let us inherit the day that is entirely Shabbos. This is, of course, the Messianic era when there's no war, no suffering, only good things and peace and joy, which is what Shabbos is supposed to be a taste of. After Musaf, on Shabbat morning, we'll sing this beautiful poem together. I hope you'll join us, and we'll bring the joy of Yom Tif and the reverence of Shabbat together in a meaningful expression of 2 different trends of expression in one. Good Shabbos, good Yom Tif. Shabbat Shalom, Chag Sameach.